Hey guys, Aramis555 here, coming to you guys with a deck profile. I know it's been quite a while, like a month since I did a video. I've just been really busy working and dealing with health stuff, but other than that, I am back. I am playing Samurai still. I changed up my build a little bit, so I wanted to show you guys what I'm doing. We don't know when the new ban list is going to be coming out, so I figured I might as well just upload this now rather than just waiting longer and longer, because we're already over halfway into October, and we still haven't got a list, so we have no idea when we're going to be getting an update from Konami, which is unfortunate because our ban list does need some changes, as always. But without further ado, I'm going to get on with the deck profile. I've changed a couple things around. I'll explain why I've done that. I'm also still missing some cards in the extra deck. I do not own 101, and I do not own Exciton Knight, but I will show you guys what I would replace those with. You really don't XYZ a lot in this deck, honestly. You mainly go into synchros, but overall, I think this deck is still really, really strong. I've been playing it a lot on Dev Pro lately, and I've been winning a fair bit, actually, more than I thought I would be. Even going, I go first mainly just because making Shien turn 1 can be really, really strong, and one thing a lot of people do wrong with this deck is they'll just like blow their whole hand on the board turn 1. Not always the best play. Samurai have a really hard time coming back, so a lot of the times just like making a Shien, leaving it by itself with a couple back row is actually the best play, and then leaving the Kizans and stuff in your hand for further plays later on is generally the strongest thing to do. A lot of the times as well with Shien, what makes him so good is the negation, obviously. I actually tend to use that negation, depending on what deck I'm playing, on the very first card they activate, because a lot of times they'll activate a spell or trap thinking that you're not going to negate it because they'll just blow it as a fodder because they want to use a different card. But if you do use that negate on that first card, it kind of sends them for a loop, because then they're like, okay, well, I can use the second card now, but I actually wasn't expecting him to negate the MST that I was targeting his back row with, so now I have to worry about that back row. Is it important? Is it a bluff? Blah, 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 blah. So that's really, really good. But anyways, without further ado, let's get on with the deck profile. So starting things off, we have 2 Kageki. I would never play 3. I've tried 3 multiple times. I think if you're playing a build, or how should I say this? I think that if Smoke Signal and Rhoda were not at 3 each, I would probably bump this guy up to 3. But I think 2 is just that perfect number. We have so much searchability in this deck now, and I count all the search cards as monsters, that generally you just don't need 3 Kageki. Like 3 is just too much, especially if you're playing an Asceticism build. You have Elder plays as well, so you really just don't need it. 1, 2, 3 Kagemusha. Now, a lot of people I've seen a lot of people play 2 Kagemusha, and I think that's fine. I played 2, I tried it out. I had somebody comment my last Samurai video saying I was an idiot for testing 2, but I'm just going to say that I think that testing is perfectly fine, and that's one thing I do want to apologize to is Team Samurai X. I did say that he was doing it wrong by playing 2 Smoke Signal. If you want to play frickin' 2 Smoke Signal, go right ahead. I personally think that's definitely doing it wrong, but I mean, you're playtesting. That's the point of the game. The whole thing is subjective, and it really comes down to what you feel is effective in your play style. So I like 3 Kagemusha. There's so many games, especially because I'm playing Dojo again, where you just blast through like all 3 Kagemushas. And you want to generally open this guy in like a search card, because that's going to get your plays going. The 1 Elder, I would never play 2. I do not like Asceticism. I hate that card. I think it's awful. But you need to play Elder for a couple reasons. 1, he's a free special summon. So you can actually, if you open this guy in Asceticism, you can special summon him if your opponent has a monster, and then Asceticism without even using your normal summon, which is really strong. That allows you to further search out better normal summons, such as Spirit or Enishi, which are 2 of the best monsters in the deck. But I think 1's just fine. Generally, after Asceticism for the first Elder off of Kagemusha or vice versa, you generally are not going to use the second Elder, so it ends up just being a potential dead draw, which I really don't like. I'm running Spirit as always, so I kind of replaced the second Elder with Spirit, and Spirit's just a better card. 1, 2, 3 Kizan, nothing to say there. I will say one thing. The misconception a lot of people do with this guy is like, so the problem with Kizan nowadays is like back when this card came out, 1800 was a lot. It was like a really good beater, but there's so many decks now that have their own like 1900 beater that's easy to summon, or you can special summon it, and Kizan just gets ran over so easy. So what a lot of players misplay with is, like I said, they'll summon the Kizan, or the Shien, and then they'll special Kizan to protect Shien. But here's the issue. One, Kizan's small. He's only 1800 by himself, so you're going to need another samurai on the board for him to go up to 2100, which at that point he does become a potential threat. But the other issue is that Shien's dodging destruction effect really does not come into play very often anymore. That was back when we had like a very singular destruction game. That was years ago. We don't have that anymore. We have mass destruction, and Shien's dodging destruction effect will not work if it's mass destruction. It'll only work if it's singular destruction, such as him being destroyed by battle, etc., etc. So blowing Kizan turn 1 is not the best play. It's always better just to hold this guy in your hand until you know you can put the push for game, or you know you got the synchro play, or you know he's going to be at 2100. So any newer samurai players, keep that in mind. Do not blow your Kizan just to protect the Shien. 95% of the time, it's completely irrelevant, and they're just going to run over your Kizan, and as we all know from Yu-Gi-Oh! That destroying by battle is a +1, so don't go minus for no reason. Zanji, just an asceticism target for Kizan, and his effect is actually relevant sometimes. He's also just there because I can like summon him, special Kizan, make a rank 4. Comes up every once in a while. The arguable MVP in the deck is Enishi. You get this guy with Shien on the board turn 1. Super nasty lock. It's really hard for your opponent to get around that. You can OTK with this guy because potentially they'll just like, sometimes they just need to get that one monster on the board and normal summon. This is compulsory on your opponent's turn, or your own, so you can just basically bounce back their monster, and then next turn like swarm with a couple other samurais, or flip up a double edge, bring some dudes back, attack for game. So really, really good. The best card in the deck behind Enishi, in my opinion, is Spirit. This card is amazing. I put Dojo back in because I was not getting to this soon enough. I love this card. You guys know I will never not play Spirit. I've played it since back when I played Old Samurai. This card is amazing. I've won games just by like summoning Spirit, specialing Kizan, equipping the Spirit to Kizan. He goes to 23, and having like a Vanities. And I played against a Yang Zing player like that the other day on Dev Pro. Good player, actually. We had a rematch afterwards. I won that one as well. But basically, he couldn't get around the Vanities, and he couldn't get around the Kizan because the biggest thing in his deck that he can even tribute summon is 2200, and he just could not get over the Kizan with the Spirit. And destroying by battle is once again a +1, so with this you're going +2 every single monster you kill. So I just literally was sitting with Vanities up in this thing, and I was just like running over every single one of his Yang Zings he was setting. He wasn't getting a special, and I kept drawing cards, trap cards mostly, and just essentially I was just gaining man advantage. It also makes your Shien 3000, which is really important, because 2500 really isn't that big anymore, but 3000 is a threat. It also lets you equip this to Shien and then crash into other 3000 monsters, and then your Shien will survive. There's also the very good combo that I've said in past videos, where if you have Shien plus this in the graveyard, you can double edge back the Shien plus the Spirit, equip the Spirit on Shien, run over a monster, draw a card, and at the end phase, the double edge will try to destroy the Shien, and it'll actually just kill the Spirit instead. So you end up going +1 off of that combo as well, which is really good. Or even +2 if you count the destruction by battle. So play Spirit, it's awesome. Such a good card. 2 Maxxs. I put these in just because the game is really fast now. This helps against the faster decks, and I just love Maxx. I think I'm a good Maxx player. I know when to play it properly, so I love this card. Okay, so on to spells. Sorry guys, I was a lot of talking about monster effects. So these will be quicker because it's spells. 3 Rhoda, 3 Smoke Signal. Play 3 Smoke Signal, people. If you're having problems with ratios of drawing too many monsters, cut down your monster count. Put your search cards up. There's no point in cutting out the consistency of your... That'd be like cutting out Manjus and Senjus out of Necros and adding in more ritual spells. Yeah, you're losing consistency there, so don't do it. 3 United. I wish I had supers. One day. So I put Dojos back in. I took the Lances out. I wasn't liking Lance. I thought I was going to like it more in retrospective, but the more I tested it out, I realized it wasn't that good. This card just pushes your plays in the early game. It can also push your combos if you're making crazy plays. Like I've made opening this card and 2 of this card in United one game. I made a Nat Beast, a Trishula, and a Shien all in one turn. And I still had a double-edged sword technique set after that because I drew the double edge and a Maxx off of the United or something. So that was I drew Asceticism and Maxx, or sorry, double edge off of the United. So that was pretty nasty. This card's just super good. I'll show you why. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Dojo's bad. Don't play Dojo." Dojo is amazing. So say I open like an awkward hand. Say like, and this is the same if this was an Elder, it doesn't matter. So say I open Dojo and like this is a really awkward hand, right? You're like, okay, what am I going to do with this? So it's actually pretty easy. You just play Dojo, some Spirit, special Kizan. This is a Kagemusha, right? And you just special that and make your Shien, and there you go. Easy peasy. Gets you out of really weird hands. You could play, if you want to, Squire in this build because it'll make your level 4 summons a little bit better, but I hate drawing Squire, so I would never play it. But yeah, that works in anything. Like, say you open Kizan, your opponent doesn't know you don't have Kagemusha, and you have Dojo. This is one of my favorite plays, too. It actually gets people quite a bit. As you play the Dojo, you summon Kageki, they Veiler or Fiendish Chain, whatever, you still got a counter on here. You were just going to special this from your hand anyway, so you just special it as its effect or condition. And you just tribute this off, get the Kagemusha, make Shien anyways, and they go -1, you still got the Shien on the board. So Dojo's just really good, it just further pushes your plays, gets you Spirit out of the deck, can get you Enishi out of the deck. It's just really good. 2 Asceticism, 3's too much, way too much. I see a lot of people playing 3 of this card still, and I really don't understand why. We don't need it at 3 anymore. Generally just because, we have 6 search cards, so you just don't need it. Like, 2's fine. 1 Book of Moon, 1 Soul Charge. This card's awesome. I've never lost a game with this deck where you open up with double Shien because of Soul Charge or Shien Nat Beast. It's just like, it's just devastating. There's no coming back from it. It's just so hard because basically your opponent's got to get over 2 2500 beaters, and they're going to have to blow 2 spell cards and potentially a third one if they have a Mass Destruction card just to get over that. So, that's it for the spells. I don't have. I would play Kageki if I had it. I just don't own it. So you guys know I don't own, or don't play what I don't own. I don't play what I own. 3 double-edged sword technique. Play 3 of this card. It's awesome. I know if Jason, SS Jason watches this, I don't know if he's even watching YouTube anymore, but he was my one supporter who believes that you have to play triple double-edged. So many people play 2, and I think that's fine. That's totally fine. But I just played this deck so long, you have to play 3 of this card. It's your instant Shien. Now we have 2 Shien. I think when we only had 1 Shien, 2 of this was fine. We have 2 Shiens now, guys. Like, play this card. It's so good. There's so many cool combos you can do with it. You can bring back the Shien Spirit combo. You can bring back a Enishi and a Kizan, use Enishi to bounce their monster and then overlay for a rank 4 and then swing for like 4k off of Excalibur. Like, so many cool combos you can do with this card. This is your Trish. This is your 2-card Trish. Basically, a lot of people are like, how do you make Trish with 2 cards? You can't. And it's like, okay, I'm not talking about actually making Trish with 2 cards. I'm talking about making Trish with a trap card that brings out 2 cards plus the other card in your hand. It's just so easy. And Trish is devastating, especially in this deck. If you can get a Shien with a Trish on the board, they can't negate your Trish's effect unless they have Effect Veiler, and essentially Trish plus Shien, it's just really hard to get over. So, triple Fiendish Chain, you have to play 3. This deck loses to monster effects. It also loses to monsters that can attack over Shien, so this will protect both. Vanity's Emptiness, best trap in the deck, other than Double Edge, I think, but you get this with Shien up and you pretty much just win. It's just gross. Ring of Destruction, this card's really good. I actually was a little hesitant about it, but it's awesome because you can use it how do I explain it? It's kind of like Compulsory, but it's going to destroy the card instead. So it lets you respond to your opponent using card effects and stuff before they use them. And it's just good because this deck can OTK out of nowhere, so this is just putting more damage off of your opponent, which is going to help you kill a lot quicker. Yeah, the 1 Compulse, the 1 Bottomless, and 1 Solemn Warning. So I'm just going to go through the extra deck really quickly. That's 40 cards. never play more in Samurai. I don't play Upstart because I don't like giving my opponent life points. I don't like Upstart. The only deck I like Upstart in is Sylvans. That's really it. XYZ. So the one Shien, a lot of people are probably going to be like, well, you playing this guy, he's a waste of a spot. He's actually really good, especially if you're playing Dojo. Just getting more counters on the board sometimes is really relevant. He's actually also an out to towers because you can beef up your Kageki to 35 and Kageki can run over towers. So that's actually really relevant. He's just good. He helps you make pushes. He helps you swarm the board. He was a lot better when we had Gateway, which I actually think Gateway should come back. That card doesn't do anything anymore. Like, it gets us like a +1 potentially, but it's like not that great. Ragna Zero, you gotta play this. There's just a lot of decks that this card hurts. Castel, Excalibur, Fist, Weller, Cowboy. I always consider taking this guy out, but there's a couple combos that you can do 73 with in my build, and that's Shien with a Spirit equip plus Kizan plus Enishi. That's 21, 22, 3,000, so that's 73, and then you just overlay the Kizan and the Enishi for Cowboy, and it's game. That actually comes up more than you think. Zen mains, I really don't make that guy this guy that often, but sometimes you open awkward hands where you open like Kageki Spirit or Kageki Elder and you don't have any better playing. You have the United, so you're like, well, I just want to draw and I'm just going to make Zen mains. He's still a good card, so I'll just dig into it. And he'll probably come out for Exoton Night when I get it, and I'll probably take out like Ragna Zero or something for 101, but I don't know, we'll see. Doesn't really... 101 doesn't actually come up that often. I usually just use Castel. Trishula, MVP of the extra deck. Barkion and Vulcan. I do not play Goyo Guardian. You do not need Goyo. He's not that good. 2800 really doesn't get over anything, especially because, once again, I'm playing Spirit. This guy's just really good because I actually make him more than Barkion. I really don't make Barkion that much in this format. Barkion's just good against, like, Satellar Knights and stuff. That's about it. Vulcan basically is just going to bounce Fiendish Chains back and, get rid of problem monsters that you're having a hard time with, so he's good. MVP behind Trish, or maybe even above Trish. Shien, that too. He's so good. I love Shien. He's my favorite monster of all time. He looks awesome. His effect is awesome. His stats are great. Yeah, so glad he's that too. Armades. Catastor I do play because he's actually out to Leo. This deck has a hard time getting over Leo, especially because I'm not playing Mirror Forces in here. I don't like Mirror Force. And, yeah, Catastor's just a good card. And a Cherry Piece, obviously. So that is the deck, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry, it was kind of a longer video, but hopefully you enjoyed all the explanations. More people need to be posting 6 Samurai deck profiles on YouTube. I noticed there's like barely any, which is depressing. Because Samurai is still a really good deck. Like, I've been playing this a lot on DevPro, like I said, and I've been beating a lot of the meta decks. And some bad players, some good, of course. That's kind of to be expected when you play online. But yeah, I think Samurai is still really good. And if you're looking for a good budget deck to take to locals and do fairly well with, I think this is definitely a contender. So thanks for watching, guys. Peace.